Hey, greetings, peace, love, and light. It's your brother Mikael right here, and we on our current edition of the Ancient Future Fridays. You feel me? And give thanks for this opportunity. You feel me? For this divine day. I'm lighting this Palo. You feel me? Getting ready to tap in with this good energy. We got a very, very special guest with us today. You feel me? Who gonna join us? Good sister Ina Maka. You feel me? Joining us on gonna come with the real divine feminine perspective. We're in an age right now where things are shifting on the planet. I don't know if everybody know, but right now we currently live in a patriarchal system, and the patriarchal system is something that's more geared towards the masculine, geared towards more towards men. And as a man, and as a human, we all know we come from women. You feel me? We all come from women, and the divine feminine energy what makes up everything in existence. So I feel like so it's a time right now to respect the divine feminine a lot more, to uplift women a lot more, and I'm here to protect and and to be service to divine feminine energy. So today we're gonna have a very special guest to join us. We're gonna get some more folks in here. I see some good folks in here. My brother Monty, give thanks to my brother Monty for joining. I'm saying I see my brother Love more. I'm saying I see a few people joining. So give thanks to the Most High. And just so folks can be aware of the guests we got coming on, get Sister Ina. She's a traveling medicine woman, a real divine spirit on the planet who's been holding space for self-healing, what I'm saying, but also she does a lot of retreats globally, from Jamaica, Mexico, many parts around the world where she brings people together for rapid healing using natural foods, medicines, herbs, and working with the earth. So she's connected with me in 2023 at the Open Psychedelic Conference, and ever since that time we've been just connecting, doing works around plant-based food and plant medicine, but also protecting of the earth and uplifting of the women and children. So right now I'm gonna take some time to get her in the chat, and this is gonna be a good one. Y'all just give me one hot second. I'm gonna get everything together in the chat. But we appreciate the comments. Give thanks, peace, and wholeness for sure. Give thanks. And I'm very excited right now about life. It's a lot of great things in store that's happening. It's a lot of good people that a lot of good things. We making connections right now. See, Sister Ina just joined and requesting to join the live right now. So we're gonna tap her in. Let's see.
Yes. Now I can't hear you. It's like an echo.
Oh wow. Let me see. Maybe I'll put my speaker on. Give me 1 second. Okay, I appreciate that. I'm sorry folks couldn't hear me at first. Can you hear
Yeah,
me better now?
there you go.
Damn, there we go. I'm sorry folks couldn't hear me at first. I had my speaker plugged in. You feel me? And I forgot to unplug that
No way.
thing. Yeah, but I see you out in nature as always. How you doing?
Always, always. I'm great. I'm grateful. It's a beautiful day. It's Friday. So that's always my favorite day. How are
Yes,
you?
I'm doing good. Good. I'm happy to be on. As I was telling people, I'm excited right now. It's a good time in life. It's a lot of things being created in the new earth. You know what I'm saying? So I just been meditating and just focusing on that. And things being well.
Asha.
Yes, yes. So we appreciate you joining. I was just telling folks about you. Just about you being a divine, medicine woman, but a mother, and uplifting divine feminine energy. And I was telling folks it's a time for that. We kind of fallen away from the patriarchal society, and falling out of just the suppression of feminine energy. And we here to uplift that. So we wanted to bring you on because we're embracing that right now. We're protecting that and we uplifting that right now. So we want to just get a perspective from, a divine feminine guide like yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. I love the idea of this being about like the ancient future and rewriting the future with our ancient technology and our ancient ways. I think very much so being a matriarch, being a woman, being a wise woman is something that has to come back for future generations to be able to thrive on this planet. Because if we don't have that wisdom, that earth wisdom, if we don't know how to take care of the planet, it's not going to be able to sustain us. So shifting back into that matriarch, shifting back into that divine feminine is honestly like just giving us love and pouring into the earth and honoring that earth energy, because that is us. So I'm definitely grateful to hold space for this conversation. I'm grateful for you as the divine masculine to be creating these spaces. And I'm just in a flow of gratitude for all that is occurring. Like you said, there's so many shifts happening. There's so many things being destroyed and repaired. And I'm just really, really in a good space for this like golden age. Like this golden age is about to be amazing. It's going to be amazing, especially for the melanated people. It's going to be amazing.
Right. It's going to be the best, and we putting it all together. And yeah, I appreciate you for being on your path of purpose. I know it's not easy, you know what I'm saying, to live in purpose right now. It's a lot of distractions, a lot of things out here to keep people away from being a purpose. So give thanks for that. And if you would like, can you introduce yourself to the people that speak about who you are and the service you offer to the world?
Yeah, for sure. I'm Ina. I am a mother first and foremost. I am a medicine woman. I am a meditation practitioner. I'm a sound healer. I am many of things. And within this, I represent divine feminine energy. And I try my best to be a goddess everywhere I go and incorporate goddess energy into just my lifestyle, into my children, into my land, into all of the things that I love and care for. And so within that, some of my offerings look like womb spaces. I create from my womb. And so I have a lot of sister circles. I have retreats out of the country where we do a lot of womb healing. And I also offer medicine retreats out of the country as well. In this space and time, I'm really just creating. Like I have a sacred medicine business where we have micro dosing capsules and different things to assist you with that journey. I am a farmer / homesteader. So that's a lot of energy. I'm a homeschooler. And then I also offer the retreat. So that's a space for the women to get away, for us to just reconnect, for us to release, for us to really just bask in the ambiance of nature, because nature is so healing. So that's just the list of things I do. It's a lot of things that I do, and I'm super grateful to be in this space to be able to do
Yeah.
it.
No, definitely. I mean, yeah, I've been following online for some time, and I have seen you offering a lot of divine services, and I've been seeing you travel a lot, and I travel a lot too. I consider myself a traveling medicine man, but when I see you, I can see you like a traveling medicine woman. And can you touch about that? Like, how did you start getting into like traveling, and what's calling you to travel around places and learn about ancient indigenous culture?
So the medicine, as you probably know, the medicine itself will activate you, and basically certain places will start calling out to you. So I know for me, the first activation portal was
Mm.
Mexico. I don't know what made me want to go to Mexico other than I wanted to go to Mexico. It was that simple. I was like, I need to get to Mexico. I need to get to Mexico. And prior to me having children, I never really got to travel outside of the state. I was really just finding myself and redeveloping myself, and I never really had that expansive mind to think, oh, let me leave the states, let me experience different cultures, let me experience different realities. So once I had my children and I was mothering and I was feeling depleted from mothering, something in me was like, okay, you need to reset. And the first place I went to was Mexico. I went to Mexico just for a retreat. Like one of my sisters was hosting a retreat. I was like, let's go. My partner at the time, me and him went, and that was how me and him kind of split apart, because I saw how different we were and how much we were like kind of navigating life differently.
Mm.
And yeah, that was like a awakening for me, because in Mexico they have the
Right,
cenotes, the underground rivers,
right.
and so we went into a cenote, and it was a cenote that had like a opening in the cave, and the light was coming into the cave, and I was like floating. And for the first time, like in a long time, I felt so connected to everything around me. And in that moment, I was like, yo, there's God within me. There's God within everything. Like
Mm.
I have been so detached. So like that moment of just like remembering who I was and remembering there was so much light in me and just like releasing in that cenote kind of just sparked all the things that are happening now. So my first time in Mexico, I realized I was like, I want to hold retreats. I want to whole retreats. I want to heal myself first so I can do the work I need to do for my community. And I need to work on myself and work on my family and work on my children. And so I went home and just started doing that for the community. And I didn't travel again for another 2 years because I had to get myself together and work on my healing and work on how I wanted to cultivate. And then within that, I started doing more medicine work. I was already a friend to the ancient medicine mushrooms, but it came back around. Like one of my friends, he does like sushi. So I don't know how he even had the medicine, but he just had it one day. Like we wanted some food, he brought the food and he brought the medicine too. And I think he brought it because I told him I was going through some postpartum issues, and so he was like, "Here, this is you need to get back to this basically." And so I had a beautiful little microdose and a little session with myself, and like that microdose kind of elevated me to like the space where I was like, why don't I do this more? So I just kept like incorporating that into my daily practices and my meditation practices, and that kind of spiraled me into just so many different spaces and so many different people that also help with my cultivation of my practices. And so Mexico was a portal for me. The next time I went to Mexico, I went out there and contacted one of my friends and was like, I want to do some bufo, because I had done bufo in the States, but I wanted to do it in Mexico. And I got connected with my mentor because she hosts bufo spaces and medicine spaces, and she's an elder Mexican woman, and she was like, yeah, like come sit and we'll do the medicine. And yeah, I've been going back and forth. Like I try to go every year to Mexico because it's just another home for me.
Yeah.
And as you know, like it's certain spaces that we have connected with in past lives that call us back for us to have that awakening, like to restore our records. And so I very much feel that travel for indigenous people is a way to restore our records and to reclaim who we are. And I think that being isolated in this space of staying in America, although we have records here as well, keeps us in this mindset, in this mind frame of thinking that we are only one part of the pie, right? But it's like you've been so many places. Like we are nomadic people, so we have to travel, we have to reconnect, we have to touch the sacred lands that our forefathers and foremothers have touched for us to get those records and those downloads. It's important work.
No, definitely. You giving me some downloads this body. Yeah, I feel like what came up to me is memory. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what happens to me when I travel. I see certain things and I feel certain things and activates an ancient memory of things that I used to do or I'm a part of. And I feel like right now a lot of us are trying to remember and trying to make sure that we are something, that we are not understanding. So yeah, I feel like travel is very important. And outside of travel, I see that you into homesteading, and I'm not for sure exactly what that is in particular, but can you let the people know what that is and what that's about?
Yeah, for sure. Homesteading is just sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
Like people, that's the Caucasian term for it is homesteading, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's sovereignty. It's reclaiming the fact that we are sovereign beings, and so a sovereign being looks like someone that can tend to the land and grow food for their children. A sovereign being is going to learn how to do certain crafts, like create clothing, so you don't have to depend on the system. A sovereign being is going to have well water, so that if they poison the water, you don't have to depend on the system. A sovereign being is going to set up their own electrical systems. So for me, homesteading is a way of life because I don't want to depend deeply on their systems, and I don't want to just wait until those systems crash. And it was really important to me to have space, to have land, to start this sovereign journey in the space and time prior to anything occurring. Because first of all, even if nothing does occur, it gives me peace of mind that I have control over what my children consume and what they're around. Because we so ducked off. Like I'm in the country, so ducked off, and I'm grateful for that. As well as what I consume and what I'm around, because your environment shapes your reality. So within that, it's just a peace of mind. It's self-sovereignty. It's liberation. It's an act of liberation. Like returning to the land as indigenous beings is an act of liberation. So please, if you are a melanated being, grow some food because they don't want you
Right.
to. They don't want you to grow your food. They want you to depend on them. So it's just something that really has propelled my journey spiritually, because I know that certain sources are connected through the earth, as well as we talked about, like those spaces, like the dirt, the soil, it has things to teach us. There's minerals in the soil that are waiting for us to reconnect with it. And we're so detached from
Mm-hmm.
the food systems that we don't even get those things in our bodies anymore. So yeah, that's what homesteading is to me. It's just like liberation. Like I feel very free to be on my land. If I want to grow something, all I have to do is really think about it and figure out where I want to put it at. Like it's like it's empowering. It's like and I mean some things of course I can't grow. Like I would love to be in a space where I could grow some mangoes and be in a more tropical space. Yet I am grateful for where I am in it, because A lot of my greens come from the garden. A lot of my salad comes from the garden. I'm working on tomatoes and peppers. We have onions, we have potatoes, like those staple crops, like we have those, and I can just go outside, grab it, rinse it off, cut it up, and it's a different energy.
No, no, for sure. See, I mean, yeah, sovereignty. I feel like that's something that as humanity we starting to grow into, because we so dependent on the corporation and the system and the matrix that we forgot, like you said, how to create our own clothes, and we forgot how to grow our own food, and we don't create our own industries, as much anymore. And when I travel, that's something I see. Like every place I go to, all the Afro-Indigenous people, they have tourism where people come to them and come to learn about their culture and come to learn about their ways. And that's something that we don't have out here as Afro-Indigenous people in America. It's like we're not doing any kind of tourism in the sense of like showing people our culture and our ways, and it's taking us out of our sovereignty. So I appreciate you like really being on that, because it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? You really need a community in a village to do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, how can people get more involved with homesteading, and yeah, what's a way that people can do that?
I would definitely say if you don't have land or space in this time, you can definitely just support, like you said, the communities and the farmers that are already trying to build those spaces. I think that's the biggest thing. Like even a community garden, like go out to your local community gardens, start small, get you a little plot, start growing, start working with the land, start speaking to the land. Like even if you can't go to a community garden, when you go outside,
Mm-hmm.
talk to the land, connect with the land, pour into the land, because that will kind of open you up as well. My sovereign path started with me interning with a farmer. So I knew a farmer. He needed support. I was like, I want to come help. And the biggest thing that was blocking me from helping or putting myself out there was because I had two babies. And he was like, bring the
Yeah.
babies. And so he taught my children how to use different machineries. Like my children have been on farms since they were a couple months old. Like I was breastfeeding my daughter, putting down okra seeds at his farm. So just thinking about that, as well as the connection to the indigenous culture. Like we are people that brought our children out and had our children next to us and taught our children in those manners, in those ways. And I think that's another huge disconnect, because we think our children are supposed to be in school or somewhere else because we're supposed to be doing what we're doing. In reality, they're supposed to be watching what we're doing so they can learn that trade and those things that will then create the new generation. And that's kind of the legacy that I want to leave for my children. So they don't have to be farmers, but they will know how to grow food. And I think it's very important for everybody to know how to grow food. So start with some seeds in your house, a planter box, community garden. Start however you can, as small as you can, even if it's just sprouts or mushrooms. Like it's certain things you can grow in your house. And that just kind of like takes one little bit of money away from the consumerist capitalist society, because now
Right.
you can do it yourself. Yeah.
No, that's what's up. That's what's up. And I hear you speak highly, about your children, and I know you very much happy and loving mother, and you embody divine feminine energy. So I want you to speak about, what is divine feminine energy? I hear a lot of people talking about it, or like speaking about the energy, and how can someone embody that one?
So for me, divine feminine energy is healed feminine
Mm,
energy. And I say healed not to say that we are not still healing, but it's acknowledging that healing journey and acknowledging the need to be balanced within that journey. Um, when I was in my unhealed feminine energy, everything was everyone else's fault. I victimized myself quite often. I didn't honor my body. I didn't honor the earth. I was very disconnected. And so divine feminine energy is the opposite of that. The polar opposite of that is it's being connected, first of all, with source.
mm-hmm,
It's being a wise woman. It is being a fluid woman
mm,
and not trying to control every situation. It is being empathetic, compassionate. It is being soft. It is being present. It's so many different traits to being a divine feminine woman, but in reality it's truly just being connected to oneself and the goddess within oneself and being in flow with that. And I think it's very important for us to like look at the world and why right now divine feminine energy should be so important, because there's so many examples of unhealed femininity and like the media and music just everywhere. And we have to realize that that is cultivating a culture for our children, and that's just something that we kind of gotta like cut right now, because reality is the women do lead the family. Like The men do their thing, but the women lead the family. The women are the examples. The women are usually with the children majority of the time. The women's frequency will determine what kind of child you're going to birth. So overall, the women have to heal for us to have a new generation of leaders and healers and farmers and people that are energy workers. Because if not, we're just going to have a whole bunch of rappers and athletes, and it's
Mm.
not going to be no food.
Okay. Okay. That's respect. That's respect. I mean, yeah. Y'all see that? I was raised by my mother, and my grandmother, and I always got love and respect for divine feminine energy. I do see at times like toxic energy within masculine and feminine energy. Niggas and calling women
Yeah.
bees and
Yeah.
that, and it's in a culture now. You know what I'm saying? And so, how can we uplift divine feminine energy and get our melanated people more involved in that?
I think for first, like the women have to set better standards. Like we as women have to stand in solitude and set better standards for what we accept.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, if we call ourselves the B word, or if we're disrespecting ourselves, then we can't be upset at the men for basically following our lead.
Mm.
And so within that, I think a lot of women are upset with men not showing up as men when it's like you're allowing that. You're not raising your son to be respectful. You're not raising your son to pull his pants up. You're not raising your son to pour into you and support you in your household. So
Mm.
then when you see other men that are mirroring that, you have to look at the fact that their mother just raised them the same way you're raising your son. So I think that in this space and time, accountability is needed for the women, because if we want to be better leaders and better lovers and better healers and better mothers, we have to be accountable for what we have accepted and what we have allowed.
Mm.
I think that there needs to be more conversations between women and men where it's not a war. Like, we're not at war with each other. Like, that whole 50-50 conversation that was going viral for a long time. Like, there's no 50-50. You give 100% of what you have, regardless. If you're committed to someone, you give them
Yeah.
100%. It doesn't matter about the cost and the numbers. You give them 100% of what you have. You might not have money, but you might have energy. You might have mindset. You might have prayer. Whatever you have, you pour into it. And I think that we have to just kind of start over, like hit the reset button
Mm.
and start remembering that you can't say that you're healed or you're a divine goddess or you're this divine feminine energy, but you're listening to music that then devalues you,
Mm.
and you're allowing people in your household that devalue you, and you're speaking to your friends and your sisters and devaluing them, and you're gossiping. Like, you can't pretend to be this woman of healing and wellness, and you're doing these things that perpetuate the traumas. So that was the first thing that I had to take accountability for, because I had to like disconnect myself from allowing certain things. For me to even allow certain words to be spoken about me perpetuates a curse within my body. So that was a huge trauma that I had to like break from. So certain friends, like, with women, they'll be like, oh, hey B, like they'll speak to their friends like
Right.
that. I'm like, nah, you can't be around me and
Sure.
think you're my friend, calling me out my name. Like, that's supposed to be some type of, like, that's not my love language. Like, you can't speak to me like
Right.
that. And so yeah, just rewiring that whole thing. And then within that, my boundaries allow me to realize that most people aren't going to be able to be with you on this journey. Like, you're going to have to find community that's already shifted their mindset and knows how to speak and knows how to walk and knows how to support you in a certain way. But I think starting with that would be powerful. Like, I would love to see our brothers speaking to our women in a kinder way. I would love to see our women speaking to our brothers in a kinder way. I would love to see us pouring into our children and speaking words of affirmations into our children, because really the words are the strongest
Mm.
bond that our community has. Like, the words and the music, because music is a spell and the words are spells as well. So the other aspect is also learning different languages, right?
Huh.
That's something that hit me the other day. I was like, you know what, it's one thing to say that these are spells, these words are spells, but it's another thing to rewrite your brain and reprogram your brain and remove those spells and speak a different language. So yeah, I'm leaning into that. I'm leaning into removing the colonizing languages from my mind, and leaning into creating a language for my family
Mm.
that is like our own code, and then also learning more indigenous languages so that we just have that structure in our bodies as well. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do, but we got this.
No, we got it. We got it. Yeah, you bringing up a lot of activations right now. It just got me thinking a lot about motherhood and also about child development. Yeah, because we think about society and our system, it's all starting from the home and it's all starting from our childhood. And I know me growing up, I grew up, in the average, hood or ghetto environment, you know what I'm saying, going to schools, eating food that wasn't right for me, you know what I'm saying, the school box lunches and, being around certain environments that was like toxic and wasn't good for me to develop. Luckily, the Most High, been protecting me and I've been able to veer off on a more righteous path. But as far as like the motherhood, like, being a mother and uplifting motherhood and child development, I don't have children right now, but in the process of me having children, I want to create a village. I want to create a society where my children are raised in Western society. They learning all the crafts and tools from the earth and the land, and they able to give something back to humanity. So, can you speak about that? Because you a divine mother. I see you online a lot with your children, and y'all are working with the earth and stuff. So, can you give us a perspective about motherhood, like the journey of motherhood, and how to raise healthy, develop, and children?
Yes, I want to just first say salute to you as a divine masculine for taking your time and knowing what you want for your divine feminine when she births that life, right? Because you are creating the foundation that a lot of us didn't create prior to the children even being here. So I just want to salute to you. I always salute to you because you're doing the work prior to having the children. And then when you do birth your children, just how liberated they will be because you already put that work in. Like, I cannot wait to see your star seeds and see them thrive and just be in nature, because I can just see it. I can literally envision it when you talk about it every time. I'm like, yeah, I can see that for you for sure. I want to say that I didn't have that. Like, for me, being pregnant was my initiation into realizing, like, whoa, this is something serious. And I don't know if it was more so ancestral. I don't really know what happened, honestly. Like, I was leaning into my healing prior to getting pregnant. And in that journey, I was attracting a lot of energies. And I did not just sit with myself. And I should have just sat with myself and continued to do my healing. Because prior to getting pregnant, I had did a 14-day like water fast, cut all my hair off, literally was just sitting in
Mm.
prayer and just doing like some deep work. And then I came out of that and I was transitioning into alkaline vegan. I was doing a lot of womb work, a lot of herbal work. I was launching my business. I was in college, and then I met my first husband, and boom, like 6 months, I think 6, 7 months into us meeting each other, we were pregnant. Like, it was really, really quick. And I want to say that the pregnancy was an initiation because life got so serious after that. I was like, yo, this is serious now. It's like super serious. And so me and him had so many conversations about my ideal of raising children. And I mean, I think I was 23 years old, and I was telling him, I was like, I know I want to stay at home with my children. Like, I don't want my children to ever go to school.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally telling him this at a park. Like, we just stopped walking, and I was like, they're not going to school. They're gonna be vegan. They're not gonna eat meat.
Right.
They're gonna be holistic. We're gonna raise them this way. They're not gonna go to the doctor. Like, literally giving him a list of things, and he was just like, okay, I'm gonna try my best to make that happen. And so within that journey, a lot of that stuff didn't happen because we were not prepared.
Mm.
We were not prepared, and I was in a state where I was afraid quite often because I didn't have the support that I needed at times. So I just surrendered a lot. So both of my children were not born at home, but they were born naturally
Mm.
because my body would not allow me to give birth. Like, my son was literally like 4 weeks late. Like, he was just not coming. He was just not coming. And I sat with myself and I realized a lot of that had to do with my own traumas and my need to control things. And so I would say for mothers, the best thing you can do if you have children right now is lean into healing yourself, right? Find what works for you. Find a regimen where you wake up and you pour into yourself and you're whole first. Because if you try to heal everybody around you, but you're not whole, it's just going to be a crumbling system. I will
Mm.
also say, if you're not a mother or a father yet, to work on yourself and create a family plan prior to having children.
Mm.
Prior to having children. And if you are thinking about having children with a person, make it a conscious conception. It should not be accidental. It's a difference between creating children accidental and a conscious conception. My daughter was a conscious conception, and it was a completely different journey, and I was very grounded in that
Mm.
pregnancy. I mean, like, I was holding womb circles, and I was 8 months pregnant, carrying stuff, cutting up fruit. Like, I was super active in that pregnancy. My first pregnancy, I was so tired. I was so drained. I didn't know what to eat. I didn't know what to do. Like, I was so lost. My second pregnancy was completely different. And I'm grateful for that conscious conception because that helped me understand the energy that we have, right? The portals that we have. So that's the other aspect of this. being able to birth a life is magic.
Yes,
It's magic.
for
You
sure.
are a magician.
Mm-hmm.
We both are, because you are the spark that activates that egg, right?
Mm.
So we're creating we're creating two DNAs merging, two bloodlines merging, and birthing it into a new reality. That is magical. So
Right.
please take it seriously. Like, there's nothing
Okay.
light about it. And
Right.
then also understand that when you have children with people, that DNA is stored in your body. So for women, when we have multiple partners that ejaculate in our bodies, that DNA is stored in our bodies.
Mm.
So realizing that, there's so much healing that has to be done prior to you having a conscious conception, because you got your ex-husband or your ex-boyfriend or whoever was in your body still in your body, and you're now trying to birth a new being with this other DNA. There's going to be issues. So
Mm.
all of
See?
this
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're going deep right now. And yeah, it is energy. You know what I'm saying? Everything is energy. And with the development of children right now, you know, like I'm seeing different programs popping up, like, unlearn school,
yes,
hearing about where, children going like on trips or like different things and touring and working with the earth and learning different skills. Also, I know about different like homeschooling programs and stuff like that, but I've been thinking about like academy or some kind of program where parents come together. It can be like 6 or 7 parents come together. They all want to homeschool, but they alternate different days and different programs and teaching children different things, and can provide meals and food and make it like a system. So is there any advice you can give to mothers and fathers about child development and how they can raise their children in a more natural
yeah,
way?
for sure. Like you said, there's so many different little systems that are beautiful. Like my children did forest school. Basically, it's school in the forest where they learn about nature, and every day they are outside. They did forest school for about 4 or 5 months prior to us moving, and that was really good for my children's development, because first of all, they were allowed to be around other children. They were allowed to, first of all, like figure out what they were interested in. Like my son was now explaining to me that he wants to be, what did he say he wants to be this time? Oh, an engineer. He wants to be an engineer.
Oh, that's powerful.
So he's leaning into STEM, and we're leaning into like building robots and things at home now. And he's only 5, so that's really incredible for me, for him to be able to like be empowered to say, this is what I want to be and this is what I want to do.
Mm,
So I'm grateful for those programs. I would say for parents that are interested in homeschooling, first of all, just look into curriculums. It's pretty simple when they're younger,
mm-hmm.
to find those curriculums, like those preschool curriculums, those kindergarten curriculums, to kind of create a base. When they get older, there's a lot of online curriculums that you can kind of infuse into your life. I like to create a curriculum based upon like what I'm doing as well. So a big part of my children's curriculum is entrepreneurship. Like
Mm.
they get to see me make my products. They get to come with me to the post office. They get to hand the mail to the mail lady. Like they are a part of it. They get to see how much money we're making this month and how much money we're not making, and they get to help me budget. They get to play with like play money. So that's just what I like to do, as well as herbalism, making like the sea moss, all those things. They're incorporating their lifestyle into like what I'm teaching them.
Mm.
I like the idea of having co-ops. I really would love to have a co-op, and it really just depends on your location if you can do that. Yet some states make it very difficult for parents to do exactly what you said, because you're not supposed to technically be schooling a certain amount of children underneath the same household. I would
Yeah.
say, just like you said, create a group, figure out who wants to do what days, and create a schedule, and lean into the community support, because it is difficult and it can be draining if you're trying to do it by yourself. And if you don't have that in your local community, then also online is another way to access that. Like we have to start using these online resources, these
Okay.
different apps,
Mm.
to lean into the support, because there's so many different groups. There's so many different groups on Facebook for homeschooling. There's like Black homeschooling, indigenous homeschooling, nature-based. There's so many groups. So yeah, take your time to do that as well. And like you said, having the systems, like having those communities, is super important. If you're a person that doesn't have a system or a community, don't be afraid to go in these groups or go online and ask for support, because people don't know what you want or what you're looking for unless you say something about it. So I know when I first moved, I reached out to a sister that was like 30 minutes away from me that I had known on Facebook, and she told me about this little school, this little farm school up the street, that they were doing like stuff once a week, and so we just started going to that. So I would have never known about that if I didn't reach out and say, hey, I'm moving to this area. Do you know anything in this area? And just like put that energy out there so I can receive what I needed for my support. I would also say as well, like, just get your children outside. Like, that's another thing too. If you are gonna homeschool, please don't just shut your children in the house. It's not house schooling, it's homeschooling. Get them outside. Like, let them be outside, let them be in nature, have them as active as possible, because I think that a lot of mothers do homeschooling, but they forget to go to the park. They forget to have their children move and breathe and stretch. They forget the socialization aspect is important for that those different age groups.
No, give thanks. Shout out to you. Give thanks to you for being a divine mother and a matriarchal, just providing love into your children, really developing them, raising them. It's a difference between providing for your children and raising your children. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to shout that out. You know, just putting them in front of the TV, putting them in front of the device, not really, you know, pouring into them and just, you know, giving them food and stuff like that. You know, that's not the right way to do it. You feel me? So I'm just putting it out there to the universe that, you know, as a people, we start developing our children a lot more because that's our future. You know what I'm saying? And we need to, you know, tap into that. So I give thanks for you for that.
Thank you. We got some comments asking some questions too. I just want
Okay,
to
yes,
highlight
yeah,
that.
it's been a lot of comments. And for sure, people, you know, said they want to tap in. I guess it's Brianna, we just met recently out here, said that, you know, she would like to be more of a children for her community for children and out the traditional school system. So that's
Beautiful.
good. And yeah, I wanted to also tap in with you about your retreats. I know you got some retreats coming up, and yeah, like what's like the purpose of the retreats that you're putting together? You know, I know it's for healing and, you know, for activation, but if you tell us the purpose of your retreats and what can people experience, what kind of, you know, experience can they get out of that?
Yeah, for sure. I want to first say, like, I love the whole healing culture, but I think it's really important to highlight like what we're healing.
Okay.
So I have specific retreats for specific purposes. The feminine frequency that retreat that I do is specifically for womb
Mm,
healing and to heal the connection with the feminine energy, to rebalance that connection, to find the goddess within, to create a deeper connection with your womb, to release trauma from your womb, to learn how to use your womb in other ways other than just pleasure. So feminine frequency is cultivated for that
right.
aspect. It's also a chance for women to just tap into sisterhood. That's something we're disconnected from as women. Quite often, like, we don't have sister friends in adulthood, and that's something we need to lean deeper into, because those sister connections will keep us tethered. Like, I have so many sisters that keep me so tethered and accountable and on my game. Like, I
Mm,
love my sisters, man. I can't do it without them. Like,
okay.
they text me ideas, they text me
Mm,
resources, they check in on me.
yeah.
Like, amazing, right?
That's
The
what's
other retreats that I do are the plant medicine retreats, and they're called Soul Revival. So Soul Revival came to me when I was in my Bufo journey in Mexico the first time, and it came to me while I was in this journey, and everything around me was just light.
up.
And like the like I said, the God energy within me was just like supercharged, and I was just being reminded of my purpose and reminded of who I was. And then I remembered that there were so many times when I felt soulless. I felt like I wasn't connected with myself. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my purpose. I didn't know what my light was. And
Mm,
I wanted to cultivate a retreat or an experience that could remind people of who they are and tap deeper into themselves after, first of all, cleansing themselves and doing the work to do that shadow work to figure out what needs to be removed.
mm,
So Soul Revival is created to, first of all, remind you of who you are, to help you cleanse any past traumas or any darknesses that are lingering, to help you repent from any things you had to go through to get to where you are right now, and to tap deeper into your soul's purpose through medicine work, through meditation, through mindfulness. So there are two different retreats. There are two different types of energies and two different cycles of me. Regardless, they both are for the healing of your internal wellness, right? Like the honoring of your purpose, the honoring of who you are, the honoring of remembrance. I think that's a heavy thing on me, is like remembrance. I want all indigenous melanated beings to remember that we are bigger than the systems that we are in, that we are bigger than the capitalistic society that tells us that we are a dollar sign. Like, we are so much grander, and there's so much more work to be done.
yes. Yes. Give thanks. And yeah, I appreciate you and commend you for that because that's what helped me on my healing path was starting to go to different healing retreats. I was in the process of self healing and I was learning a lot and I was, you know, doing a lot of self healing, but I knew I needed something more and something deeper outside of just like the regular like city environment. So my first healing retreat I ever did was in Mount Shasta, you know, about a mountain, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it was so powerful, you know, connecting with nature and accessing plant medicine on a more natural frequency. And ever since that time, that's really got me traveling to different places so I can, retreat, get away for some time, decompress, you know what I'm saying? I noticed my being in a lot of other countries, time move a lot slower for me.
Yes.
I don't have to like be in the stress and mode of like always working or hustling and busting to get a dollar, you feel me? So I feel like we need to retreat. We need to take time to get away so we can activate and come back into this society and do the work, you feel me? So I appreciate you providing the space for people.
Yes, for sure. I'm super grateful. And we hope to have you coming to our next Soul Revival retreat, holding space and
Yeah,
creating delicious meals in January.
yeah,
So I'm going to put that out into the universe.
yeah. Put it out there, and I'll be working on be doing it. You know what I'm saying? And look forward to have you in Jamaica. You feel me? Part of this plant medicine psychedelic conference, and also to hold a retreat out there. So I'm putting that out to the universe as well. So yeah, we doing it. And our next question, we want to tap in with you about Afro-Indigenous practices, because I see you just came from a trip from Peru. I was looking like, woo! I really wanted to talk to you about that one, but can you speak about, getting back to Afro-Indigenous practices and, your journey within that?
Yes, for sure. Peru was a vibe. And Peru was a vibe because, like I said, when I go to retreats or when I go to other people's offering, I'm always wanting to support our indigenous, our African, our melanated community members. So I got to support a great brother of mine, Asar. And if you go on my page, you can see he's probably linked in there somewhere. And he actually moved to Peru a couple years ago and was doing a lot of different medicine work out there. And so when he posted that he was on a retreat, I was like, yeah, for sure. Like Peru had been calling me for a while. And I want to just say that to say, as African, as melanated, as indigenous people, once again, we have to honor the fact that a lot of these places and spaces we have ventured to before. We have been there in past lifetimes. So being in Peru was a reminder. It was very much a reminder. And I also love spaces like that because they are ran and governed by their people. So Peruvian people are the Incan people. The Incan people are an ancient civilization that's still thriving. Like
Mm,
the Mayan people are an ancient civilization that are still thriving. People want you to think the Mayans are dead. These people aren't dead. These indigenous people are still on their lands. Like, please don't believe white media when they're like, oh, they killed off the Mayans, they killed off the Incans. No, they're there. They're running, they're ruling their governments, they're on their money,
come on.
they're still doing the
I
work, they still
appreciate
are
that.
deeply ingrained with their
What's up?
culture. Yeah.
What's up?
So
Yeah.
yeah, within that, I want to say like the importance of just being reminded, like being reminded of your sacredness, being reminded of your culture, and being reminded that we're often disconnected with it. So even like you right now, look
Mm,
what you're wearing as an indigenous man. I love this. I love to see it, right?
yeah.
Because this is who you are. And that activates your DNA in a way that allows you to expand in your magnetism versus when we are wearing clothing that is not conceptualized for us. It's not made for us. It's this whitewash, this colonistic ideas around it. So yeah, I feel like as melanated indigenous people, it's our job to lean into our DNA being activated by our clothing, by the places that we attend, by the foods that we eat, by the spices we eat, the herbs that we consume. Like every action that we do as indigenous people, we have to remember that it comes from a source. And it's either the source of our creation or it's the source of colonization. So who taught you it and where did it come from?
Mm,
And remembering that if you're leaning into things that were taught to you by a society that's trying to basically break you down and deteriorate you and destroy you, then you want to be
mm,
destroyed. And if you're leaning into the culture that has engraved in you and tried to create this system where you can continue to remember, because in African clothing, like if you look at the
yeah.
symbolisms,
Yeah.
it's the remembrance. The symbolism is the remembrance. Like even this, I got this from Guatemala. It was hand
Mm,
sewed, and in
mm,
certain things they put different symbols, and that's the remembrance. That's being
mm.
able to read and communicate through the symbolism. You don't really see that in American textiles, right? You don't really see that. You don't really see the stitching. So I think it's just really important for us to tap into that too. Is the simple things that can activate our DNA.
Nah, real talk now. I know a lot of people may not resonate with this, but I'm out of the European, culture. You know what I'm saying? I don't, really mess with, Jordans or nothing like that no more, or the Mercedes Benzes, or a lot of stuff that we get introduced to as, Afro Indigenous Americans is all you can, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we got to find a way to transmute, you know what I'm saying, to get back to our culture and, and still incorporate this new age to, to the ancient times. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So on that note, I know you mess with fungi heavy and plant medicine and herbs. And how is that like an ancient future technology for our people? And what is that going to help us do? We activate into that a little bit more.
Yo, the fungi is everything. I don't like to like try to rate plant medicines, but the fungi is one of the most ancient technologies, and it's not even from here. So let's just talk about that. It's not even from here. Um, Me being introduced to the fungi has allowed me to expand massively in a short amount of time. So I always suggest as melanated people that we tap into that energy. And I think people are afraid because if we talk about the psychedelic aspect, that can be a little fearful. Yet it doesn't have to be psychedelic. It can be also be reishi. It can be lion's mane. Just mushrooms overall. It helps with your cognitive function overall. Overall. So if you're eating mushrooms, your brain is creating new pathways for you to once again tap into your remembrance, your Akashic records, certain data that's already stored within you that you can't tap into because your brain doesn't have those pathways to tap into it. So it's really just like it's giving you the recipe to get back to yourself, basically. And that's how I see it. I'm like, mushrooms help me get back to who I am. And some people see it as, oh, I'm in an elevated state. No, you are an elevated state. You are an elevated state. You usually can't actually vibrate at this state. But the fact that you have so many different pathways being destroyed by the fact that we aren't getting the proper nutrients, or that we're underdeveloped because we weren't poured into a certain way when we were, like you said, growing up. We was eating certain foods, right? Your body has to detox and remove those things in order for it to get back to its magical self. So the fungi is spot on, the ancient technology that is needed for everyone. I give it to my children. I give it to the land. It's everywhere around me. I want to start growing it. I just want to pour into it more prior to doing that. So I have a few sisters around me that give me mushroom bags, and I'm super grateful for that because I can just like grow a little bit, put it into our food. But yeah, that's the technology that they don't want us to have, right? And I think there was this whole like era where we were being strayed away from it. Like if you think about the 70s, we weren't doing the mushrooms and the LSD. We weren't doing that. We was in a crack epidemic. Like we was on a whole different wave of energy. And I think that was kind of put into our societies for a reason. Like that was placed in our communities so that we don't do that. So that we're on a whole different frequency while the whole rest of the world's like hippy dippy love the world super connected, right? Wow. And we was going through our most impactful time where a lot of our parents and great grandparents are still being impacted by that. So I want to say now in this space and time where we're out of that era, it's our duty to lean into our sacred medicines, to lean into our sacred realities, to remember who we are through our medicines, and definitely just activate. Like I'm tired of being normal. Like hit the button and activate.
For real. Hey, that's deep. I mean, for real. I want to bring up something that our good brother Sorry brought up a deep one. He said that he held his first fungi ceremony in Peru, and he found out his purpose and seeing ancestors in others' room and seeing him as well whispering in his ear, and that's a big one. Yeah, powerful. Yeah. When I was in Jamaica in this last retreat, shout out to the Rastafari indigenous village in Jamaica. My good brother First Man, Queen I, Kendrick, the whole family, Sugar Free, so many, to shout out. But when we was in Jamaica, the brother First Man, before the ceremony, I brought up something, and I kind of already had a knowledge of this, but he was like, man, mycelium, it covers all the plant medicine because it's what makes up all the earth and the soil and everything. So, the ayahuasca plants got to grow from the mycelium. The iboga got to grow from that mycelium. Anything that you need is going to grow from that because it's rooted deeper than the earth.
Right.
And so when I was in a journey, this is the first time this ever happened. I take mushrooms often, but these Jamaican mushrooms are a little bit different. When we were on the land, and it was just a different experience. But first, when I was on the journey, the first thing that popped up, it felt like I was on DMT. And I never experienced that before. Like, I only smoked DMT a few times, but the first thing that popped up, I felt like I was on a DMT experience. And then after that, we started drumming and singing. And then I felt like I was on some ayahuasca. I was like, oh, wow, I'm on ayahuasca now. And then finally, towards the end, I felt the mycelium balance everything out. And I went through that whole experience of all the different plant medicine. And I was like, wow, this is very special. So I feel like the more that we work with the fungi and the mycelium, it's going to take us to anywhere we want to go to. Like you said, it's not from here. It's intergalactic. It's meant to teach us to grow us and get back connected to us. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, I had a journey where I had made some cacao, and I had put some medicine in the cacao, and
Mm-hmm.
the cacao was from Guatemala, and so I was like just playing around with that, and I put a lot of intentions into the cacao, and I put a lot of intentions to the medicine because I was doing my own inner healing. Like I was actually right here sitting down, like nighttime, me and my partner, and it was a big dose. It was about 10 grams, but both of us had half, so it was about 5 for me. That medicine like took me out of here. Like I was in the sky. Like I was so out of here. I have never been that out of here off of mushrooms in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I've taken bigger doses than that. So it was so strange to me that I was like it was like intergalactic.
Mm-hmm.
And this was right before we went to Peru, and I was like, yo, this was probably preparing me for the journey that we have to go on to get me to where I need to be at, right? And I just wanted to like say I'm super grateful for the medicine because the medicine, it shows you different realities, right? It shows you different portals that you can walk in and that you can work with. And I've been able to like manifest so many things through those portals because they belong to me already. And I think that's another thing that we need to tap into as indigenous people is our ability to bring what we want into our reality by being able to visualize it and then tapping into these medicines. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people want to do the medicine for sure for healing, like healing trauma, healing generational trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yet also, these are tools for manifestation. We have to be able to use it as toolage as well. Because yes, healing is important, but we need to heal our financial state. We need to heal our mental state. We need to heal our emotional state. There's different aspects to healing. So I know for me, the biggest disconnect that I've always had was like finances. Like I've had to work on my finances, and that's even caused me to being in depression at times. It's like I don't have the right resources to take care of my children. I don't have certain things that I need. And the medicine has reminded me like, yo, you have it. It's
Yeah.
in you. You just have to put it out there that you need it. And so I'm super grateful. And I just wanted to highlight that as indigenous people, like, yo, there's so much power in these medicines outside of just, you know, we kumbaya and we heal and we cry and we release and we feel good. But also do that visualization work. Like go in there, talk to your ancestors, get them debts paid, clear that karma, do that work.
Come on. Come on, that's powerful. And yeah, I'm on the same path. So yeah, I appreciate it. Give thanks to the medicine, all the medicines. And really, food is medicine too, though. You know what I'm saying? That really started my path. Started you on your path, it sounds like as well, you know what I'm saying? Just being able to eat and feel the medicine inside of us. And on the last note, before we get up out of here, when I first came on the show, I was speaking about the fall of the patriarchal system, you know what I'm saying? And I see Babylon is burning and falling right now, you know what I'm saying? And especially with all this energy coming up with like, I noticed at the beginning of the year, the brother Nature Boy, he
Yeah.
got burnt down. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm seeing Diddy. He getting burnt down right now.
Yeah.
Whole thing, I think it's a big distraction. But this hip hop beef stuff where
Oh,
Drake
Drake and
Lamar going
Kendrick.
back,
Yeah.
like a war. It's a masculine thing. You know what I'm saying? It ain't got nothing to do with women and children. It ain't actually talking about pedophilia and all type of stuff. Man, burn and take that man down then. If that's what he's doing. So I just see a whole thing popping up with men and the patriarchal falling, but also I see the rise of the matriarchal system and women and being more empowered and being more in leadership. So can you talk about that? Like advice you can give to humanity as far as preparing for the matriarchal system to return.
Yeah. I want to breathe into that for a second.
Right.
Breathe into that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this: the patriarch doesn't have to fall.
Mm.
It doesn't have to fall. It needs to learn how to balance with the matriarch.
Okay.
It's that simple. We need to learn how to balance with each other. We all have our roles. We all have our purpose. We need to learn how to balance. We need to learn how to stop trying to topple over each other,
Mm.
right? And that's the issue with the patriarch society. It's trying to topple over the matriarch. It's trying to control the
Mm.
women. And so I don't want to say like let's kill that society. Let's cut that off. No, it's less of that. It's honoring the fact that we have to respect each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so when men stop trying to tell women what to do with their bodies, they stop trying to regulate our wombs. They let us lead our bodies. They were reminded of our power. Then we're able to work together and have more balance.
Yeah.
This whole mindset of that women are weaker or women are emotional, so they can't regulate, and so they shouldn't be able to lead. All these ideas that are created based around colonism. It's like it's really European standards. This is not African ways. Like in Africa, the women are the leaders. And the women are the leaders through the men. Of course, it's community support. But at the end of the day, everybody knows the mama is the leader.
Yes.
The mamas, the aunties, the sisters are the leaders. And we are the leaders because we are the wise women. We
Mm,
have wisdom ingrained in our wombs. Not to say that men do not, yet women are literally born into this world with wisdom ingrained from their mothers, their grandmothers, their great great grandmothers.
mm,
Unfortunately, men don't have that other than in their Akashic records. They have that aspect, yes, but they don't have that womb wisdom.
mm.
Womb wisdom is our earth wisdom.
Yeah.
So that's us knowing how to tend and take care and nurture. Nurturing is something that comes from the earth. The earth knows what to pour into each and every tree and each and every plant and each and everything for it to survive, right?
Right.
So as women, we have to honor the fact that we also have that wisdom ingrained in us. We know how to have survival. We know how to nurture. We know how to nourish. It comes naturally. Our bodies literally know how to nourish another body.
Mm,
It comes naturally, right?
mm,
The balance and the order will come when we each understand our roles. And I talk about this so often because men don't understand their roles and women don't understand our roles. I know at times I'm a pretty aggressive alpha woman. So I know sometimes I take myself out of my role and I try to be the protector, the provider, and all these things that is not truly my role to be. My role is to be the nurturer. My role is to be the soft one. My role is to nourish the family. My role is to pour into the family and have the waters and the food and the comfort, right? And a lot of women don't want to lean into that role because within that role, there's so much vulnerability. There's
mm,
so much vulnerability to saying, hey, I need you to protect me. Hey, you're stronger than me. I need you to protect me, right? So we try to be out there with our spears and we trying to do all the protection when
mm,
that's not our role. And then even with the men,
mm,
there's so much vulnerability in saying, hey, woman, I need you to nourish me. I need you to take care of me because I've been doing all this heavy lifting, all this work and all these things. I need someone to take care of me now. So men kind of like do all these things and their bodies are deteriorated and they breaking down and they're not healthy because they're not saying what they need. So I feel like in order for the matriarch to come into balance,
mm,
which means being liberated, because honestly, we're not liberated at this time. This looks like communication. This looks like ease within being able to express. And this looks like the patriarch releasing his grip on women and saying, hey, we don't even understand y'all for real. We don't get
right.
y'all. We don't get it. We don't really get it.
Mm,
Let's stop talking on y'all. Let's stop speaking on y'all and let's let y'all speak on yourselves.
wow.
That's how I feel like the balance will come when women can speak about what women need and what women want and what women want to do, and men can speak about what men need and what men need to do, right? Versus us trying to tell each other what they need to do. Because I know in my world, that's often what I hear is men telling women what they need to do, what they should do, what they shouldn't be doing, what they should wear, what they shouldn't be wearing, and it confuses me because I'm like, as a man, you don't know how to regulate this body, so how do you speak on it? And the same thing with women.
Mm,
So that will be the balance for me. It's like women have those conversations. Like women sit together in circles and us talk to each other and figure out what we need to do as a collective. And men, y'all have y'all conversations. And then we come together as a village and we figure out what needs to happen for us to flow. Also, the reins of power
mm,
is being loosened up. Like give women more power, empower women, pour into women.
yeah.
And I mean it in a way where I'm like, pour into women because women deserve to be poured into, not because you find them attractive, not
Mm,
because you want something from them,
right.
just because they deserve to be poured into. And I've been so grateful to have so many people around me that love me regardless. Like you might not give me nothing, but I love you and I want to see you thrive and I want to see you win. And that's what needs to happen. Especially women that have children, especially women that are community leaders, they need to be poured into.
Mm,
They need to be poured into. So
yeah.
as me speaking as a woman, as a matriarch, I want to see the rise of the matriarch society. I want to see it, but I don't want to see the crumbling of the patriarch. I want to see union. I
Yeah.
want to see connections. I want to see communication. I want to see us being able to thrive together. Because I think the problem is that we've been at war forever. It's always been, oh, this society has to fall for this society to work out, and this they gotta let this like no. Let's be in union. Let's
Yeah.
figure out how to work together.
Indeed. You just dropped a bomb, and I appreciate you so much. You feel me? And I just put my phone on the charger, so my position is a little bit different right now. But I want to come with a universal download right now for all men. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to break something down. Now, it was a point of time on the planet, in all existence where it was just all women. You know what I'm saying? Man has really just been birthed recently within this humanity and society. You know, we got great examples from the Amazonian woman. You see the stories of Wonder Woman, and it was a time on the planet where it was just women, and it's always, that's how Earth's always developed. It's women first because they're the nurturers and carers and the birthers, and then women can also have children without men involved. It's called symbiosis. You feel me?
Symbiosis.
You know what I'm saying? And every woman has that inside of them. They just have to activate it. And for the first, I believe, 6 to 7 months in the womb, every person is a
It's a
woman.
woman.
And you
Yes.
develop into a man later in development as being a child. So with men knowing these things, we have to be more respectful of women. We have to be more honorable of women, and we have to like really uplift them because that's where we come from, and we not going back nowhere else besides inside the womb. At the end of the day, you feel me? Like, and that's what you always hear for as a man. You was born, and every day you chasing the womb
Right.
again. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to get back in that thing.
Trying to get
So
back.
so that's real, you know what I'm saying? Women is, they're divine. They are the power and the source. Divine masculine energy is needed and is already entwined within the feminine energy. You know what I'm saying? So we have to get back as a man to balance our feminine energy. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of being a provider and protector, but also, like she said, being able to be asked to be nourished and being able to be soft in ways when we need to. But at the end of the day, we need to be protecting these women and children a lot more, especially the children. You know what I'm saying? If you a man out here and you have children, uplift your children, protect your children, pour into them. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have children, try to do your best to do something positive and be a good influence to children. You know what I'm saying? In our society, because we need more positive influences for men and women in society. I'm looking for more positive influence within the divine feminine energy too. A lot of people follow these celebrities, Beyonce's and all these different new celebrities, but you need to be following this sister right here. You feel me? Because you got the and she actually doing a work out here. You feel me? So be mindful what you pay attention to. Be mindful,
Yes.
things that we consuming. And I appreciate that download. You know what I'm saying? And for the patriarchal, for brothers who are strong, who are honorable, who are actually doing the work. Let's stay strong and build with each other. You know what I'm saying? And any men that we see that's weak, who hurting women, who hurting children, man, let's go ahead and punish them and take them out the way. You feel me? So we can be in a balance. It won't be no more misconceptions about men. A lot of women have been hurt by men. You know what I'm saying? Bad memories about men. You know what I'm saying? Trauma from men. So I want to eliminate that within myself. I know women see me and they see a black man and they might be a fear of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that to be no more. You feel me? Because I'm a very pure being. You know what I'm saying? I got love for women. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just putting it out to the universe for all the brothers. You know what I'm saying? Please protect, provide, and be there for the divine feminine energy and for all the children. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I want to say that. I want to definitely say that you are definitely a safe space as a divine masculine. And I say that within honoring even how we came into connection and the community work that you're doing. It's rare to find safe spaces, and that's what I communicated to you prior. I was like, yo, I came out of a very unsafe space within medicine work. So to find a safe space and a black man and a brother and you a big man too. So he ain't no little man, he a big man. So you could be scared of him.
Yeah.
But he's a very like a gentle giant, like very much so a presence of safety because you hold yourself to a high regard, and within that you have that accountability, right? And you have those systems and you regulate yourself as a melanated being within those systems that come from our culture. And I think that a lot of the things that are happening within our community come from different cultures, like we were talking about, like what they was exposing Drake for messing with teenagers, right? Younger girls. That's not our culture. Like that's not really our culture.
Exactly.
So we have to really remember our culture, embrace our culture. Remember that some people don't come from our culture because he's half not us, right? So he has
Right.
things in him that may be aligning him to that, right?
Right.
And then, like you said, what are you paying attention to? So I always say your intentions are what you pay attention to. Your attention should go into your
Right.
intentions. So
Right.
anything you're paying attention to, you're setting your intentions
Mm-hmm.
towards. You can't say, oh, I don't subscribe to these things, but you listening to these things. You can't say, oh, I don't want to be part of this community or this society, but you keep putting your energy into the society to be a part of it. So really be intentional about where your attention goes. Like focus on the things you want to bring into your life. I know for me, I wanted a homestead, so I focus on farming. I bought farming books. I bought books about herbalism. I bought books about how to even like shear a sheep and make my own clothing. Like I
Yeah.
started really digging deep. Like, yo, I want to figure this out. And it came to me. It came to me because I was paying attention to the things that I needed for myself, right? So women and men, we speak so much negativity on how the world is. We have the ability to shift the world by paying attention to the things that we want in our realities, like these type of conversations. I make time for this because I need this and I want this in my reality, and I want people to feel and need and see this and learn from us, right? And it's really, really important. So be intentional, even online. If you see certain pages that's not in your alignment, it's certain things that you need to cut out, unfollow them.
Mm-hmm.
Put your intentions and your attention into things that you know you want to flourish, into the wellness you want to flourish, into the healing you want to flourish, into the community you want to flourish. Because that's what's really important.
That's what's very important. So yeah, I appreciate you, Ina, for just being a light, for trusting me. You know what I'm saying, like you said, and the connection, and yeah, we here, you know, just doing the work. I appreciate you making time to make this transmission, but it's gonna be well felt by many people. Yeah, I'm proud of you. You know what I'm saying. I appreciate you, and yeah, we got a good sister who probably will want to connect with you. Like I said, our good sister Brianna. She's on her path of healing and journey of evolving. So I feel like she said she would like to reach out to you and connect. So just so you know.
Yeah, hit me up, sis. For sure. Super grateful for the space and time. Thank you for creating this Ancient Future Friday. I'm super, super, super grateful. I know everything you do is super intentional, and I know there's so many blessings coming your way. I'm super grateful for the community you've been cultivating and all the offerings that you have going on. Like, I cannot wait to see you out of the country once again, glowing and showing off. Like, I really love seeing this man, y'all. Every time he be out of the country, I'll be like, look at you. You're looking good. You're glowing. And it's so important, yo. Like, the work you're doing is so important. Like, you're combining and infusing so much healing into so many different communities. Like, you are that radiant divine masculine. So thank you for holding these spaces. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being present. Thank you for all the prayers that you're doing. We appreciate you. I appreciate you, and I'm definitely looking forward to continuing seeing you and building with you soon.
Yes, give thanks. Give thanks. So yeah, towards the end, we're a little bit over. I know some people in here that probably do got some questions, but anything, you know, hit us up personally. You know what I'm saying? If you got any questions, you got anything live. And yeah, we're looking forward for the next Ancient Future Fridays. Appreciate you, sister, and everybody for joining.
Thank you all. Peace.
All right.